Okay, this lab is a alteration of lab 4.1. So let me look at, I'll show you the alterations and then we'll walk through the steps in the lab. So lab 4.1, we're going to start it just the way Wiley says. We can make some changes just because of the setup we're going to use a little different. So in this lab we're going to start with sand, water, and salt, mix them together, and then we're going to use physical means, both separation by filtration as well as distillation to separate the three. So we're going to follow Wiley's steps 1 through 9 fairly closely. In that you're going to mix, he says mix 25 mils of water. I would recommend going ahead and starting by mixing 50 mils, and I'll show you why. So here I have 50 mils of water, and I have 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of sand. The very first thing you're going to do after you mix them all together or put them all together is just mix them all up so that you've got a mixture of sand and salt and water. And is this a homogeneous mixture or a heterogeneous mixture? That's a question you want to answer. We're going to take that and we're going to filter out the sand to start with. So I'm going to pour all of that into my simple filtration and scrape that out. And so now I'm going to collect my salt and my water in here, but I'm going to separate out the sand with the filter paper. I'll let that run through and then we'll come back. Okay, now I have filtered it out, and so now I have the water and the salt water mixture in there, and I have sand in there, so I have separated now our sand out from our water. Now we're going to separate the water from the salt. To do that, I've set up a simple distillation apparatus, and what that involves is this flask. It's actually got a flat bottom so that I can put it on my stove here. We'll use the stove to heat with, and we're going to, I put a piece of glass in there to keep the salt water from bumping when we heat it up. So all that is just we call it a boiling chip. It's just a piece of glass. It could be anything that's inert, and I have dropped it inside there, so now I have 2. And I am going to put my flask there, put my clip on, and then lower my setup so that the flask is going to be touching the hot plate. And now what's going to happen is that when I turn the hot plate on, the water will boil, go from the liquid phase to the gas phase. It will come over here in the gas phase, and then this section of the condensing column is cold because we are running water in from the bottom side and it's flowing out through the top side. And so whenever you turn this water on, you want to turn it on slowly because it's just sitting here, and you don't want it to blow that hose off of there. And what's happening now is water is flowing from my lower hose into the bottom of the condensing column, up through here, and then out that drain. And that's how we're going to do our condensing of the water. So that's just a real quick way to show you how you're going to set it up. We're going to collect the water after we distill it in this weigh boat cup. It's small enough that it can fit under that condensing column. And anyway, and when we do that, we will have separated out. Our salt is going to remain in here, and you don't have to boil this down to complete dryness. You get it close and you'll get the idea. So it'll turn white as the salt is left behind and the water evaporates. And the closer it gets to dry, it will be a little more violent, and so you'll want to turn your water down so that you have a nice, easy boil over here and not a violent boil. Anyway, that is a quick down and dirty on how to set up a simple distillation.